We first heard about Austin Home Transitions when you spoke here when we were looking over different retirement communities, and you gave a talk here, and I realized, and my daughter realized, we knew you from Impact Austin, which was a nonprofit we both participated in, and when it was early, starting out real early. And we decided that was great. Somebody would help us downsize. And so you ended up helping us downsize 2 different times, from our big house to our downsize house, and then you helped us again to downsize into Longhorn Village, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Well, we had in working with Austin Home Transitions, we had a visit where we sort of planned out what we needed to do, and particularly what we needed to get rid of or sell or give away. We have a large family group here in the Austin area, so we were fortunate that they could take quite a bit of stuff that otherwise might have been not worth much to anybody, but with grandchildren starting out, we could provide them with furniture and other things, kitchen appliances and things like that, that they needed, that they would otherwise have had to go out and buy. And then we...
By the way, this was a whole team of people that Austin Home Transitions provided. And so they asked us the questions about what was important to us and what we could do, gave us clues on that, and gave us a plan to work on. And then they arrived all at once one day. And it was busy, 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 and the whole place practically got emptied out. But they found a place to resell some of our things. They made sure those were picked up, so we didn't have to transport them. They sent stuff. We had a whole bunch of deliveries to Goodwill, which we were happy to do. And so that was such a big help, really. And then we were ready to stage the house without so much stuff in it. So our daughter, who's a realtor, knew just what we needed for staging. So,
but over the years, like most people, we gathered a lot of things that we either didn't use, or books we hadn't read, or books we have read and had to store someplace. And we found out that there was an awful lot of downsizing to do. During the whole process, over 2 moves with Austin Home Transitions, I wore out 2 shredders trying to get rid of paperwork that I either wanted to scan into a computer or just didn't want to keep any longer and couldn't keep any longer. I didn't have the storage for it. Well, I think that's the best part of it, was that we walked into the home that was all finished. There weren't a lot of boxes around to unpack. There wasn't a lot of furniture to be moved around. It was all set up, and dishes were in the cupboard, and food was in the refrigerator, and pictures were hung in many cases in the rooms where they had been hung before, or the same type of room that they'd been hung before. So the impression was that everything had been done, and it certainly removed a lot of stress from us having to do that, either trying to find things in a box or a packing situation where we didn't have to go through all that. We were married in 1958, and we made quite a few moves. The first...
we made 11 moves the first 6 years we were married.
And we'd move back and forth. We were stationed in Hawaii for a while, and the government, of course, would pay for the moves, and they would have come, but we would have to do a lot of the packing, and although they'd pack dishes and things like that, well, we'd have to designate what was going to go to the various packing equipment. And we were in the Navy on active duty. I was on active duty for about 12.5 years, and then I shifted over to reserve, and we stayed in Hawaii for a total of about 36 years. But I was doing reserve work in the Navy, and we moved 3 times after I got off active duty in various places in Hawaii, and then moved back. We had a session in Washington where we were there for about 3 years. We expected to be there 6 months, but I was there over 3 years. And that was not complete moves, but partial moves back and forth to Washington.
Yeah, I had a whole system for when he was either going to a school or had some kind of a special assignment with DARPA, for instance. So I'd have completely different plans for what we'd have to take and what we'd have to leave behind. And so it was a lot of planning ahead. And I didn't have to do anything this time. None of that. We didn't have to arrange for the movers at all. That was part of the service that Austin Home Transitions did for us. So we didn't have to worry about finding the right mover. We had, on our second move into the retirement community here at Longhorn Village, there was a little bit of a mix-up about when the flooring was going to go in that we wanted put in our apartment. And so Austin Home Transitions had to arrange for the mover to change the moving date, which I'm sure was a big hassle. And they took care of that. And so there was a little bit of a hookup there, hitch there that they straightened out for us. So that was great.
But we were quite pleased with the team. They all seemed to be experienced people as far as moving is concerned. And that's not an experience or a job description that many people start out for, because you usually do it on your own. And we had a lot of family help, but we also had a lot of help from the team, and they would ask us if they had any questions about where this should go or that should go, or whether we should keep it or dispose of it. One of the things we did before we moved into Longhorn Village, because we had an apartment assigned, we measured as carefully as we could to see where furniture was going to fit, and decided what rooms or what placement we would have on the furniture. And Austin Home Transition followed through during their work on the apartment for hanging pictures and moving furniture and arranging things largely the way we wanted it. We've made some changes to it as time goes on, and we worked with the apartment, but we really found that although it was a much smaller space to live in, we were able to move in and function very effectively right away.
It also helped us because we knew which furniture to tell the kids they could take and what ones we might need to hold on to a little longer. So that was a big help. The other thing is, your people took pictures of things that were in the drawers in the kitchen and stuff, so that when I opened the drawers in this kitchen, everything was right where I expected it to be. So I wasn't hunting around for hours for that spatula I needed right then. So Longhorn Village had sort of an introductory luncheon here, and we were just starting to look over the idea of going into a retirement community, and lo and behold, Liz was the speaker for how to downsize. And I recognized her, and so did my daughter, who's a realtor, from our participation in Impact Austin, which is a nonprofit that Liz had also been involved in when it was first getting started. And so we were happy to use somebody that we knew, but we never expected to have all the services we got with this. It's well worth every penny, as they said, and we've done it twice using Austin Home Transitions, both from downsizing from our great big house to our downsize house, and then once again when we moved into Longhorn Village into this apartment.